Welcome back to the Bentonville Beacon podcast, where we're sharing stories and advice from the entrepreneurs, business executives, and community leaders, sparking the rise of the greater Bentonville area, which represents one of the fastest growing and most dynamic cities and economies in the United States, and is nestled in the Ozark Mountains of Northwest Arkansas, in the heartland of America. Hey, I'm your host, James Bell, and today I have the pleasure of sharing the studio with Rafael Rios, the founder and CEO of Yeyo's, a culinary gem that has significantly enriched the food scene in our area. Rafael's journey is not just about bringing authentic Mexican cuisine to the heart of Northwest Arkansas, but it's also a tale of passion for sustainable farming and a deep commitment to the farm-to-table philosophy. His efforts have not gone unnoticed, as he is a multi-time James Beard Semifinalist, an honor that underscores his dedication to culinary excellence and innovation. Rafael's work through Yeyo's and the Rios Family Farm, combined with his celebrated recognition, make him a pivotal figure in the culinary landscape of the greater Bentonville area. Rafael, welcome to the Bentonville Beacon podcast.
Thanks for having me, Bill. I guess I would say that.
Yeah, James, that's fine. James. Well, it's wonderful having you here. Rafael, will you share with the Bentonville Beacon audience what you would like them to know about you, including how you came to Northwest Arkansas?
Absolutely. So Rafael is a veteran of the U.S. Army. I joined the Army in 1997. Before that, obviously, I came to the United States in 1989, learned enough Spanish to join the Army, and I was enlisted for close to 20 years, from 1997 to 2011. During this time, I cooked. I have a passion for food, and I wanted to showcase the Mexican cuisine everywhere I went. So basically, whether I was in Germany or Afghanistan or anywhere I was, cuisine was always in my mind. So I made it a point to get into a journey of changing perception of the Mexican cuisine, and also add to the quality of life of people that ate my food. So basically, I moved to Northwest Arkansas after my military service. I started a food truck utilizing farm-to-table approach, and with the main intent of changing that mentality, like the perception of the quality of the food, the process it takes to make the food. Where are we standing in terms of Mexican cuisine in Northwest Arkansas, and that kind of things.
That's cool. Well, I'm sure you were a welcome sight to every soldier.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
I made a lot of money making food for the soldiers.
I bet. I spent 8 years in the U.S. Navy Reserve, was out 13 years, and then joined the Army National Guard for a few years. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your service.
You're quite welcome.
Can you expand for the audience on your journey starting a farm in Northwest Arkansas to becoming a restaurateur and a multi-time James Beard Semifinalist?
So the story is not as complex as a lot of people might think. We moved here to Northwest Arkansas searching for a better quality of life, period. Right. So when we moved here, we figured we'd have a farm, since we in Mexico we were farmers. We were people that lived out of our own land and produce and all that stuff. So we figured we'd come to Northwest Arkansas, have a little bit more relaxed quality of life than we had in California. So we basically followed the dream of my father, whose name is Hector, in accomplishing the goal of having our own land. So we came here looking for land, and we looked for opportunities to live off of that. We started a farm, and we started taking the produce to the local church where we went, and that soon became a thing where people were expecting us to bring all these things, and they were cherishing those parts of the Rios family, giving to our church and the community. And we figured this was a perfect platform for us to start changing that perception of Mexican food. Sure. and enlightening people about the process it takes. Why is a taco worth as much as a burger or something like that? Where are we with that perception? And so we came here looking for land. We sold our house in California. We got a lot of money for it at the time, and with that money, in 2006, we purchased farmland and houses and all kinds of stuff. So it was a great change.
That is cool. And so out of that, you grew the farm, you were delivering produce to the church, and then you decided to start, I guess, a food truck, and then that led to some restaurants. Will you expand on that a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, taking our food to the church was the beginning of Rios Family Farm. And we started in literally maybe 900 square feet of the land that we had just for family garden. But that quickly led to taking the food to the church. And then after that, we decided to plant on about 1.5 acres, and we decided to join the Bentonville Farmers Market. And we were the first. It was a groundbreaking opportunity for us because having those goals in mind, we became the first non-white farmers at the Bentonville Farmers Market, and that was great. And then we started the food truck in 2013 after my service, which was pretty horrible the first year, actually, because it was a new thing. It was Crepes Paulette was starting, sure. Big Rub Barbecue was starting as a food truck business, and it wasn't a scene that Bentonville was ready for. So it was a little tough. It was that year, $39,000 in revenue minus expenses. My wife and I. Multiple times where we sat down and cried about it. It was like, we don't know what we're doing, and I'm not sure this is the place, and this and that, right? So, but one thing happened during this time is most of our sales happened in the fall and leading into winter. And that opened the opportunity for us to open a second year, which was totally it was skyrocketed. Like, people acknowledged that we were trying to do something different. They learned a little enough about the farming operation that we had going. They started seeing us at the farmers market, bringing up amazing quality produce, heirloom tomatoes, 17 varieties of tomatoes, and so on and so forth. So that quickly, it wasn't quick, but it led to people believing in what we were doing, and it opened the doors to what later became Yeyo's El Alma de Mexico, the restaurant at the 8th Street Market. Sure. And shortly after that, 2 years later, the opportunity in downtown Rogers, and we've been doing great, and with the same goal. We're still improving the quality of life of people, making sure that we have a place that is responsible, partnering up with those right people to make it happen.
That's wonderful. You've come a long ways in a few short years.
Yes, it could have been faster. It could have been faster, but we like to take steady steps, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, it has a purpose. And without a purpose and a true mission, we can't really grow.
Well said. I mean, those are true qualities of a successful entrepreneur, right? Accepting that it's not going to be as good as you want in the first few years. And then being patient and pushing forward and persevering and being very purposeful in that process those are hallmarks of successful entrepreneurs.
And being resilient. I mean, being resilient, knowing that you have to keep going is every morning is not everyone does it. So you have to be resilient. You need to know stick around to the mission and the goal.
That's right. Well, along the way, then you started getting some acclaim. You're a multi-time James Beard Award semifinalist. What does that mean to you and to your team?
Well, my team is humble. The first nomination that we had, for instance, from the James Beard Foundation, I started getting all these phone calls from local chefs and saying, "Hey, Rafael, great job, you did it." And it took me literally like 3 days to reply to the James Beard Foundation and say thank you, because it was just unbelievable. And our team realized that, in fact, all those efforts that we've been doing have paid off, and then the second year and the third nomination were the same thing, but now we're determined, like we have the ability and the capability of changing the culinary scene in our region. We have been doing it without knowing for the last several years, 10 years to be exact. So we're different. We're a different kind of breed. We're resilient. Yeah. We know what we want, and our team embraces that. Our family embraces that. We work harder. Now we want to get better produce. Now we want to get the produce to other local restaurants, and so on and so forth. So it allows us to fulfill a certain level of obligation that we now have with our community, the Latino community specifically, to empower them and let them know that we're here and that we can do a lot of things, if we do it from the heart, in good faith, all those things. That's what the Rios families brings to the table every time, and it's an honor.
That's incredible. I mean, you are one of the originals in what has evolved in the past 10 years in Bentonville and in Northwest Arkansas in terms of the culinary scene. It is, I think it's safe to say, it's really grown up in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
You're one of the originals in many ways, and in bringing ethnic foods and so on. And you continue to push the boundaries and push it forward. Let's go back to the farm for a moment, and then we'll work our way back to your restaurants. Let's start with this. Farm to table is an important philosophy for you and your restaurants. For the folks who may not know what that is or understand it, can you explain it a little bit, and then talk about why it's important to you?
Why it's important to me is it has two different things, but the farm to table approach for the Rios family has to do with education, right? Sustainability. Like, to what level of sustainability did we grow up in our homeland in Mexico when we were younger, and what kind of values did our parents teach us in regards to preserving land and growing what you eat and all those things, right? But also the quality, like the quality of the products, being loyal to a process, right? Without cutting corners. And most important, the taste. What is it? What are those flavor profiles that we're looking for? Even when we're doing research and development in our kitchens, what is the difference that it really makes? And for the people that our guests that come to visit us, knowing those kind of things, knowing what kind of practices we have, knowing that we are the only Mexican restaurant with the farm to table approach. We own and operate 2 different farms now, by the way. So what are those things that set us apart from not only the competition, but also to make us part of an evolving community, right? That is focused on on what they're eating and the quality of the stuff they eat, everything that goes in the plate, in the process, right? So farm to table, it could be subject to interpretation at times, right? But to us, it's more like our sustainability, what kind of message we're sending out to the community when we discuss a farm to table approach. What really happens behind the scenes? What happens with mom and dad? What is the amount of people that are involved in this project? There's 17 family members that work in Yeyo's projects. Wow. And some of them, including my mom and dad, who are over the age of 76. They're full-time farmers, and they've been farmers their whole lives. And this is the same situation that we've had with a lot of the Latino community. Most of us are farmers, right? So what is it that we are sending as far as messages to the community, right? And then to wrap up, to close the circle, what is it that we can do to change the way people see Mexican food? So that's important for us. This is why we invest a lot of time on the infrastructure of the farm. We work with, food loops to make sure that we have, a better quality soil, that we work on the soil for many years because it takes a lot of time for the soil to produce the way it should. So we partner up with the University of Arkansas and like all these things, right? To make sure that that approach, the farm to table approach, is seen in a much broader spectrum through sustainability. So nowadays, our farm and our restaurants are sustained anywhere from a 35 to a 60, 69, almost 70% sustainability when it comes to our produce. Oh, man. And not only that, but we provide the great quality produce to many of the local restaurants, especially the fine dining restaurants in the area. So the message out there.
That's really neat. There was a question that I had in my question set that I had to take out for just lack of time that I didn't include in the set at all, which was I was going to ask you about how your Army experience and your life in Mexico led, are foundational and sort of led to your practices today. But what I'm hearing here is, when I think about military mission and purpose and following process and trusting the process, I'm hearing that, and I'm hearing out of your life in Mexico, the need for sustainability and culture and the traditions of farming and the things that you do in farming, and then educating us here. I mean, I'll be frank, it's in America, we sometimes we're too blessed with what we have, and we forget this. Like, my wife is Persian, for example, and sometimes I'm a little perplexed by the things that she does and by the things that her family does, and I've even gone as far as to say, "Oh no, we're prosperous in America. We don't have to worry about that."
I
have to dial it back.
That is so common. That is so common.
Matters, right?
Yes, absolutely, it matters. Yeah. So family matters. What you're teaching and your legacies that you're teaching your kids matters, and it also matters to be a vital, what I consider a vital element to a healthy community, right? So what is it that you are truly doing with your business, and how is it seen by the community, and the overall, like, is it a sustainable business and all these things? But the most important thing is the added value to a meal, right? Yeah, and how it connects with the soil and Northwest Arkansas, and the food and the music at the restaurants. I mean, everything is tied up to an experience, right? At the end of the day. And so we focus on what the experience is going to be.
That's cool. Well, you've, Rafael, you've evolved from one farm to two farms, and from one of the first food trucks to Bentonville, to your location of the 8th Street Market, to downtown Rogers. I think I noticed on your website that maybe there's a second food truck coming. What are the key factors that have led to this growth, and how does being part of the greater Bentonville area contribute to that?
Well, it's a platform. Greater Bentonville area is a platform, right? And we have people coming from all backgrounds in life, and I think there's a need for all different models of culinary businesses, right? So the culinary scene and the need for those geographically separated locations without having to invest so much in overhead and all this stuff.
Sure.
I mean, all this, at the end of the day, we also know a little bit of numbers, right? So there is a need for additional Yeyo's locations. I believe that a good way to start is going back to our beginnings, right? So testing the waters, if you will, with the known brand that we have. It shouldn't be easy, but now you're looking at prioritizing those projects, right? So there is another food truck coming to our fleet, and is happening in Springdale, actually.
Nice.
Springdale is a community that gives a lot, culturally, artistic, and with music and everything. It's a diverse community as well. We are looking at expanding into Fayetteville. That happens this year as well. But the most important thing is, we are trying to solve the problem of request. The people request us to be in different places at this point. We have the opportunity to do it. We just have to do it, like I said, in a way that makes sense, right? For us, and also for the community, looking at those areas where it's most needed, where we feel we can make an impact, where we feel that the next step of incentivizing ourselves with great people and great customers is going to make sense. So there is some growth in that regard. And Springdale, we do have another project called Casa Magnolia, which soon everybody will know about. And this is targeting a multicultural center, like the home of the community, if you will, through the use of books and art, music, coffee, ice cream. Yeyo's itself will be there. So that's an ongoing project in Springdale. And this is another way that we want to close those gaps in regards to providing something great for the community at an affordable cost. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love hearing about this evolution into Springdale, Casa Magnolia, the food truck. You're right. Springdale delivers so much to the Northwest Arkansas community. There's some amazing culture coming out of Springdale, and just like everything. There's a lot of amazing stuff happening there, and it's one of the next areas that's really starting to birth itself. In it's already a great place, but it's really starting to evolve quickly there. And hey, Fayetteville, did you just hear that? Yeyo's is coming. Get ready.
Coming.
That's
very soon.
That's
We've
good.
had a lot of requests actually from Fayetteville. Our own guests, customers, they always tell me, "You really need to go to." They beg us to go there. So I think it's coming.
You don't have to drive 20 minutes anymore.
Yes.
But that's great. It gives me another place to eat when I go to Fayetteville, too.
And quite honestly, James, scarcity is not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's right.
When I think of Yeyo's and its potential to expand into something massive, we've had those opportunities already. We still have them now, but it won't feel like the Yeyo's we intended to make. Right. So we got to. I don't really want to grow too much that way, because if you want to have Yeyo's, you just got to come to the place, and then just make it home. And this is what we intend to do at the Springdale location. This is going to be a community home, and it's a big thing. It's a small 2 words, but it means it represents a lot.
Yeah,
and I think that the Springdale community is going to be very pleased to have us there with what we have in mind.
Yeah, that's neat to hear.
Hey,
so we've talked about these future locations. You want to talk a little bit more about 8th Street Market and Rogers and how those locations are unique and bring different experiences for your guests?
Yes, absolutely. So the 8th Street Market, obviously, that's our flagship. That's our flagship restaurant. A lot of things happen from there, even production of our tortilla manufacturing. That restaurant does everything. So the intent, if I recall, like the intent of the 8th Street Market in the beginning was to make it obviously a hub, a culinary hub. There's this bike rack happening. Bike rack was the first tenant, if I recall. Then we came along, and it just feels like a place where people can indulge into a culinary journey. They can see a process. This is the reason why Yeyo's at the 8th Street Market had an open kitchen concept, which is hard to find around, So we wanted people to feel like a real market, with noise and the music, and you can hear people's conversation. You can hear the kitchen screaming, whatever, dishes dropping and all that stuff. So that was the whole intent, right? So we do manufacture our own tortillas. We nixtamalize our corn and all this stuff. Everything happens there at the market, including elements of our business such as the caterings and events, and we provide food for the food trucks from there. So it's a big hub. It's a big thing. It never rests.
Yeah.
So the 8th Street Market is a perfect platform for people that want to experience unique things. They want to see a process of making things. They have a chocolate factory that does amazing. Markham and Fitz does really amazing things there. I mean, you can smell the coffee a mile away, and the chocolate and all the good stuff. And then we had some really good tenants at the South Market. So it's a cornucopia, right, of great people and great places that make that a unique destination. And that's the whole, and we're part of that, right? So I just don't see anything happening or a person saying, well, we're going to go to the 8th Street Market and saying just like one specific place, right? It's a cornucopia. It's a combined family that without each other, we're not the same. We're absolutely not the same. It works that way. And it's a good business model. To be honest, it's a place where everything happens, and a destination by all means when people visit Northwest Arkansas.
You bet. Yeah, we love going over to the 8th Street Market.
The Rogers location is a mezcaleria. It's another baby of mine that I really I enjoy being there, just to sit down and enjoy the view of the walls and the mast. It's a building from 1907. It has possibly one of the craziest, most amazing collection of Mexican masks that you will find here in the United States. I have a passion for that. Wooden masks that are centuries old. We have the largest selection of mezcal in the entire state. Only the big cities have more than us, which is great. You don't find that in smaller cities like ours. The ambience, the music, it's a place to have conversations. It's a place to connect with your inner spirit, obviously, because now you're talking Mexican mythology and the spirit of agave, mezcal, art, through the murals of Octavio Logo, three-dimensional pieces of art that are amazing. And a great menu that takes you from the southern part of extreme southern Mexico to the north. We have the parrilladas from Chihuahua to all the way south in Oaxaca, barbacoas. There's all kinds of crazy good things there. It's a gem. It's a small little place. So it's not a big place, but it's one of the most incredible places in Northwest Arkansas.
That's cool. Well, I have not been to that location yet, and now I'm absolutely starving. So I'm going to be dragging my wife out for a date night here soon. We tomorrow will be the 3rd week birthday of our newest baby, and so maybe my mother-in-law and father-in-law will take over.
Yeah, well, they should
for a night, and we'll go check out.
You call me if you can find somebody.
Excellent. Well, hey, Rafael, let's talk more about Bentonville and the Northwest Arkansas region. What is it like? We've talked a lot about building a business here, but what is it like living, working, and playing here? How is this place different from other places?
Well, there is love for community, which is one of the biggest things that drove me to live here. There is kindness throughout. There is opportunities. I mean, the opportunities are endless here. You just have to have a good product and believe in yourself. And the opportunities definitely are there for growth, and that doesn't just mean for the culinary scene, but also for other businesses. We have coffee shops. We have biking community, which is a big thing here. Working in Bentonville, living in Bentonville is a culmination of what our story was initially intended. So we're searching for a story. We're looking for a place where we can be ourselves and we can be happy, a place where we can have opportunities to grow. Our kids can have good school system and good schools to go to, and the overall quality of life is just amazing. Low unemployment rates, all those things, great companies that foster, the unity of the people in Northwest Arkansas. There's a lot of nonprofits. There's all these things happening here that just aid to you being happy. So the overall thing is happiness. So happiness is what brings people to Bentonville. Work. When it comes to myself, my family's happy. We have plenty of work. We have the ability to decide for ourselves on how the future of our kids looks like. Where do we want to go ourselves professionally? All of those things. There's no obstacles. We're free. We're free people, and that means a lot to us.
I love that. I wrote that down. Happiness brings people to Bentonville.
Yes.
I'm going to start using that.
Absolutely.
You're right. It's all these things that you talk about. You can maybe find one piece here, one piece there in other places, but finding them in combination in a place is so unique. I've lived all over the country. I grew up in Central Arkansas. I went to New Orleans, Nashville, Chicago, Denver, Memphis, and we're here. We're never leaving, period. And I've not found anywhere close to this full combination anywhere but here. And it's amazing.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I visited California. I visited Seattle. I lived in Seattle for some years. I lived in Washington. I lived in DC, and I lived in Chicago, all these places, right? But I never did I find any place like this. And you feel it when you go out of your house. You feel it in the mornings. You feel it in the fall. You just feel it when you take a walk in the park or at the lake, or you go out and people say hi. I mean, it's incredible. So that's what makes Bentonville unique, in my opinion. It's the people, number one, and the ability to just be yourself and pursue happiness the way you want. And just live good. I have a good life here. I wouldn't go anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, that's cool. Well, will you share a story? Tell me a story that we'll call it a hashtag because Bentonville story. This is something that happened where you look back at it and you go, I don't think that could happen anywhere else but Bentonville, or maybe it encapsulates your experience here in Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas.
I would say Fiddler's Club. Third Friday of the month is one of those things that I cherish. And I was not a person that liked to connected in such way with a community. But I love going on those Fridays to the square and just hanging out with listening to the fiddler groups just play beautiful songs. I haven't seen a horse in downtown lately, but there was a time when there was we used to go get our feet on A Street, the Farmers Exchange, which is now a Rev Unit, I believe.
Yes.
But it's still the country. There's some beautiful country scenes that I can still see in downtown, which I just love. I don't know, nature, the nature, anything that has to do with nature and music and culture, because we have deep roots of culture here, and Friday night Fiddlers Club or Fiddlers groups playing in downtown at the square it makes my day. It makes me feel happy.
There's something magical about the mix of the old and the new, and this culture that we do have here, and just the way that this place works. There's just some kind of magic sauce.
Yeah, it's
hard to put your finger on.
Yeah, it is hard, but I think that's it makes me feel really good.
Yeah. Well, let's stay on the theme of Northwest Arkansas just for a moment, but we're going to start shifting the direction of the discussion to Rafael. In 2023, you participated in the Smithsonian Folklife Festival, and there you represented Mexican foodways in the Ozarks. How do you blend your Mexican roots and the local culture of Northwest Arkansas in your culinary creations?
So basically, I focus on processes, right? I focus on processes because I think some of the ways that we cook our food should never be lost. So I focus on the old ways of nixtamalizing corn, and I focus on. When I was at the Smithsonian, I drank a lot of moonshine, because we had some moonshiners from Arkansas that went over there. So I connected. You connect with those people, and it has the same relationship that they would with the production or distilling of agaves, right? You start talking about foraging. Foraging is big. It's a big thing in Mexican cuisine, and most people don't know that. So you start talking with people and connecting with them and saying, hey, how do you eat this? How do you eat that? How do you prepare this? What is the process of making this? And what is the process of making that? So, and you share that knowledge, and it's about sharing. At the end of the day, it's about sharing culture and enriching our knowledge and our culture when it comes to Northwest Arkansas and the Ozarks, right? I want to know how to use the cast irons and what do people use them for, and what is the biggest cast iron you've ever had, and all these things, right? So all this enriches your soul, like your mind, your soul, and it enables you to learn about the people. At the end of the day, the people is what makes Northwest Arkansas. So you learn about people, and you share knowledge. I enjoyed the foraging part a lot, and we have a lot of foraging here in Northwest Arkansas.
That is cool. You made me think of something when you mentioned moonshine and similarities to what you do. I was thinking about, like, you hear about international, like, beer markets or international beer bars. Why isn't there not an international liquor bar? I want to get a place where I can go
to work on that,
get moonshine and mezcal and sake in one place.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be so cool.
I mean, it's called collaborations nowadays.
That's right.
So you just collaborate with great people from out there and bring them to Northwest Arkansas. There's a thing called Mexico in a Bottle. And Mexico in a Bottle is a great organization. They travel the United States, and they show you all the spirits and all this stuff. So I think that Northwest Arkansas is a good place for something like that. They should come, or maybe we can have the first Lucha Libre and Taco Festival or something.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, as we start wrapping up, Rafael, I have a few curiosity, advice, and whimsical questions,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. I'm going to start with my first curiosity. And this one is about corn. So corn has a special significance in Mexican cuisine. Can you elaborate on the spiritual connection to corn and then how it influences your cooking?
Yes. So basically, corn has a history in Mexico from the beginning of times, the history of Mexico, right? There is different kinds of corn. Obviously, there's that I know of is more than 38 different types of heirloom corn in Mexico, and Mexico is the country in the world that uses the most for the diet, right? So you're gonna use corn in different forms. And it has to do also with mythology. I believe that corn is the sustainability grain of Mexico, and it is it has gone under some kind of heirloom varieties preservation. It's a challenge right now, but I don't know how to really answer that question the way I should, I think, but it is the main ingredient at our kitchens because that's what we know. That's what the Mexican people have adopted as their grain of choice, and we go through the process of nixtamalization, like I said, and we want to make sure that it has a story to tell when it comes to our plates.
Neat.
Yeah.
Love that. I think you answered that question perfectly.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I think so.
Speaking of ingredients, if you could only cook with 3 ingredients for the rest of your life, what would they be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. 3 ingredients for the rest of my life. Well, definitely corn would be one. Beans would be a second one. And Jesus, whole milk. Milk is good. My brother Roman has a cow, so we always go and steal his milk. Milk is a good choice because obviously you can make a lot of things from it, but it's beautiful.
That's a good choice. Some advice. What advice would you give to aspiring chefs or entrepreneurs who want to make a mark in the culinary world?
Believe in yourself. Number one, have your values and your identity as a person well defined, and know your capabilities. So basically, if you really want to be a chef, for instance, then cook a lot. You cannot be a chef by only reading. So basically, do a lot of cooking, indulge, enjoy it, and look at yourself when people eat your food. Right? Look at yourself when people eat your food because that's going to give you the best feeling in the world. If they come to you and say, wow, that was amazing. That was the best meal I've ever had. That was great. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I want to be a chef or this and that. So it's your personal feeling. How do you feel when people eat your food? Do you feel accomplished or do you feel like you need more? And if you think you need more, you definitely need more. So just stick with it. And I think you have to enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Yeah, that's a solid answer.
Yeah.
As we roll into the last couple of questions, if somebody wants to reach you, learn more about Yeyo's, and first of all, I want to answer part of this question. I'm going to come back to you. If you haven't been to Yeyo's, I don't know why this hasn't happened yet. Wherever you are, drop what you're doing and get over there. Get to any of the locations because you're really going to enjoy it. But if somebody wants to learn more about Yeyo's and you or reach out to you, how do they do that?
So basically, we have a few ways. You can search Yeyo's NWA. You can on Google. You can also visit our website, which has all these beautiful things from that tells you about our story in Northwest Arkansas, what we do. Yeyo's gives back. We have, we allocate some funds to the community every year. So Yeyo's, YEYOSNWA.com is the perfect platform for you to go and check us out.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Last question. Rafael, what's something I should have asked you that I did not ask?
You should have asked me, what is the importance of my family?
What's the importance? Oh, wait, you had more to the question. Go ahead. Yeah.
What is family? What does family have to do with anything at the end of the day?
That's a great question. Will you answer that?
Yes. So family has to do with everything at the end of the day. Being raised, when you were raised the way I was raised, you learn about giving, you learn about selfless service, you learn about holding on to something that you really want. You learn about expecting from people that the same, right? So if you want to be respected, you want to earn that respect. Everything is earned, right? So when it comes to family, we're only as strong as the weakest link, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Right. It's like, how are we shaping our kids? How are we shaping our kids? Are we teaching them to be respectful? Are we teaching them to go to school and do good for themselves? Are we just letting them be out there, and raising themselves like it happens a lot in the world? I'm not just gonna say here or whatever, but family is the strongest platform that is going to take you anywhere. And I think that's a great question.
That is a great question. I'm going to go back and listen to the answer over and over again because I guarantee you my wife is going to make me do that. Plus, it's a great question and answer, and you're absolutely right. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Rafael, your story sheds light on really the rich culinary tapestry of Northwest Arkansas, and how you're a huge part of that, of really helping it evolve over the past decade. It's really about your connection to sustainable farming, to authentic cuisine, to community spirit. It really encapsulates all of that. Your journey from the fields of Mexico to the Rios Family Farm, to your restaurants, your multi-time James Beard Semifinalist status is really a testament of your passion and innovation and your commitment to excellence. So thank you for bringing all of that to us here and being part of the greater Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas family.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, James. And I think that there's a lot of good things happening also here in Bentonville, which I'm not going to get into that just yet, but I think there's another really good thing coming to Bentonville from Rios family. So
now
we didn't talk about that, but it's not time yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
All right. Well, excellent. I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yes. It's going to be great.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And thank you to our Bentonville Beacon audience. Thanks for joining us and investing your time in this episode. I encourage you to share Rafael's inspiring story with your colleagues and your friends. And if you're watching this video through bentonvillebeacon.com, You may have noticed that we've recently added a new search feature to our refreshed website. So be sure to explore that and find your favorite person, business, or topic with ease. And whether you're watching there or listening on your favorite podcast player, make sure to hit subscribe. Keep joining us to discover more about the entrepreneurs, business executives, and community leaders who are sparking the rise of the greater Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas area, where you get more of what you want and less of what you don't. Until next time, stay amazing.